Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Ben. Thank you so much for that. And of course, as soon as I talk, my neighbor's rooster decided to make his cameo. Well, one of his roosters. But for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. So, Ben wanted me to do a commentary on Revenge of the Ninja. Revenge of the Ninja, which came out in 1983 for Canon Films. It actually fits because I got this as a very nice gift from Ilko. So, thanks go out to Ilko for the gift, and then thanks to Ben for the paid request. So, I have it paused at the beginning. Well, technically on this Tino Lorber, there's a 12 seconds in on pause because it has the Tino Lorber logo pop up, then fade out. Some people might not have that if you don't have the Tino Lorber release. So I'm paused right where the MGM logo starts. So if you do have the Blu-ray, it's 12 seconds in. If you don't, again, it's when the MGM logo starts. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Okay. Stop. For some reason, I hit it, and it took forever to unpause, so I'm at 13 seconds in. Or when the MGM logo, I would be close enough. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. There you go. And the MGM logo fades out now. Tokyo, Japan for syncing. So yes, Revenge of the Ninja. Like I said, it came out in 1983, and this came about because Enter the Ninja was fairly successful. Sho Kosugi played a different character, and he was a supporting actor, villain, and Franco Nero was the lead. Well, because of the success of Enter the Ninja, I think there was talks of Menahem Golan directing, since he directed the first one. Even though they're not really sequels, because they don't connect, because it doesn't follow the same characters and such. Like Sho Kosugi and this, Enter the Ninja, Ninja 3 The Domination, they're kind of considered as a trilogy, but Sho Kosugi plays 3 very different characters, and they're not linked other than they're about ninjas. So it's like a really weird type of a trilogy. Now, Sho Kosugi, from what I understand, is dubbed in the movie. This is not his, well, he hasn't come up yet, but it's not his voice in the movie. Now, I remember way back in the day on some VHS tape, I thought I had made this up, but I had this vivid image of this crazy massacre of this family that was surprisingly gory. And this image of like a little kid getting a ninja star in the eye or in the head. It was in the head. And it was so vivid when I was a little kid. It was like I thought I had imagined it. I thought I had dreamt it. Or a nightmare. But it wasn't until years and years and years and years later when I saw this, probably in my 20s, where I went, oh shit, it's this movie. This is where that came from? It was a mind blower to me. Because I'm watching the opening, I'm like, this seems familiar. Wait a minute, is this what I think it is? And then when that ninja star hits the kid in the head, I went, oh shit, that's pretty damn fucking brutal. And this is a very brutal opening. Like, 5 swords in the guy's back. If you're a woman, it don't matter, you're fucked. If you're a little kid, it don't matter, you're fucked. You get a slice on the belly, and a sword in the back, 2-piece. You're this woman, don't matter, you get fucking. It don't matter. Here's a little kid and that is one of Sho Kosugi's kids. That is Shane Kosugi. Shane, I believe, is his name. Because I believe it's Shane and Kane. Kane Kosugi is the little kid later on who is the surviving son. And Kane Kosugi is the one that would go on to be in Ninja Shadow of a Tear with Scott Adkins. But I believe the one who died, that's in the Shane. Forgive me if I get the name wrong. But it's a hell of a way to open a film. I mean, you're 4 minutes in, you have the fucking more violent than a lot of horror movies. But yeah, from what I understand, Sho Kosugi is dubbed in it. This is not his actual voice. And this is like the first film he got to star in, at least of a Western film. Like I said, he had a support role in Enter the Ninja, and because of the success of this, because this is one of the first films that MGM released. Which is a lot of the Canon Golden Globus films that were releasing, I don't want to say independent, but that might be close enough. But one thing led to another. MGM got a hold of this, liked what they saw, released it, had much more of a national market, and became an even one of their bigger successes. And then you saw a lot more other movies. I believe American Ninja and other films were released with MGM, and that helped the Canon films quite a bit. And Sho Kosugi, he would go on to star in Pray for Death, Rage of Honor, Nine Deaths of the Ninja, Ninja 3 The Domination. He was in Black Eagle with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He had a big role, I believe it was him, at the end of Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. And I don't know what he did after that. It seemed like when it got into the 90s, he kind of disappeared. He might have been a little thing here and there, but definitely not as prominent as the 80s. And you definitely don't hear of Sho Kosugi much of... because he's not interviewed on the Blu-ray Sho Kosugi. There is a commentary with the director Sam Firstenberg and Stephen Lambert, who was the fight choreographer. He doubled... so I think in some scenes he doubled Sho Kosugi. Sometimes he's a ninja that pops up for a stunt, and he also doubled the villain at the end, like he was in the Silver Mask. And yeah, it's a good way to start your film, where you have this brutal massacre, so you feel bad already for Sho Kosugi's character, and then you want to see these guys get their comeuppance, and you get to see Kosugi do quite a bit of damage. I don't know a ton of info about the film, so I would say if you ever get this, definitely check out the commentary with the director and the choreographer. They provide a lot more knowledge than I would. Thank God they're in their formation. And thank God they attack one at a time. That's a standard for a lot of movies. Attack one at a time. But I miss stuff like that. That's a classic from Bruce Lee and all sorts of stuff, where it's fun, on this superficial, bottom of the barrel level of just seeing a badass kick a multitude of ass. What you want to call these were our comic book movies or whatever. They were entertaining, they were enjoying the physicality of what people can do with enough training. And in the 80s, you had Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Chuck Norris, and then you get in the late 80s, you're being introduced to Jean-Claude Van Damme with Bloodsport, Steven Seagal with Above the Law, even Dolph Lundgren with not just Rocky 4, but Red Scorpion, and then you go into the 90s, you got I Come in Peace, and with Van Damme, you got Lionheart, and Universal Soldier, and Hard Target, Time Cop. With Van Damme, you got, with Steven Seagal, you got Out for Justice, Bar for Death, Hard to Kill, Under Siege. The list just goes on and on. It will kick a lot of ass, and his baby survived. I know, you just say, well, he got over the death of his family pretty easily, but it's like, well, what are you wanting to see? Like, you want to see him, go crazy and, kill him and kill everybody, and he kills her and then he just went insane, or cry for 5 minutes. He still has, a pained look, and it works for the film. It works for the movie. And one thing I should mention is that they have made books on Canon Films, which I did pick up. They made, I should say, Austin made this book, which is from 1980 to 1984. And yeah, you might not always agree with the person's opinion, but this is still written from someone who is a fan. He may not be a fan of every single movie, but he is a fan. And I definitely say this is better than that Canon Film documentary, Electric Boogaloo. So this is from 1980, 1984. This does include Revenge of the Ninja. And then he had a second book, which is bigger, 1985 to 87. And yeah, I don't always agree with his opinions. Like on Firewalker, I disagree. Although there's a few interviews from people who did Firewalker. But it's pretty in-depth, and they go through every Canon film that was made. And it's definitely an interesting read. And apparently there's going to be one more book, which I guess will be 88 to, 90 something. I'm sure they'll go into Bloodsport. I'm guessing Street Dye would be in there, things of that nature. So this is the other son grown up, Kane Kosugi. We get to see a little bit of what he can do. Trying to make fun of him for having a pink shirt. He may have a pink shirt, but he ain't no goddamn pussy. Damn, I mean, the kid's like, 8 years old, he didn't fucking smack, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna kick you in the nuts. Told you, just come to me, I'll kick their asses myself. I will power drive them. She's like, what is he supposed to do? Get his ass whipped and bent over? He needs to kick ass? He's going to kick ass. Oh no, don't let it be Charles Band Puppet Master. But yeah, Canon Films was a company that I grew up quite a bit during the childhood. Those were a lot of the films that would pop up in the video stores, but we didn't have video stores where I grew up. But VHS was so popular, they were everywhere. I mean, gas stations, little grocery stores, you rent movies there. And so growing up, renting, Death Wish 3, Invasion USA, Firewalker, American Ninja 1 and 2, and much more. Over the Top, Hero and the Terror. That's one of the things I didn't like about the Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, I understand there's crazy stories, and they'd like to be fun stories, but it felt like that was mainly interested in either shredding the company, making fun of the company, or talking about how the company was awful. I remember some friends of mine, including Fabio and Mike OCP, they did an interview with Sam Firstenberg, the director here, and they brought up that question. And Sam Firstenberg, he kind of nodded like he understood, and he's like, yeah, it seemed like the people making it, they mainly wanted to hear like bad stories or like controversy, or they were pushing an angle, they're pushing a certain direction. And that's why that came about, and that was one of the reasons I didn't like it. Like, if you have a balance, that'd be one thing, but it didn't feel like a balanced documentary. It didn't feel like people who actually like the company. They actually like these movies. It's like made by people who didn't really like the movies, or they liked them and they just go, yeah, these are so cheesy and corny. They're so bad. We love it because we made fun of it. I'm like, that's not okay. That's your prerogative. That's not mine or a lot of other people's prerogative. This lady came from the Charles Angels School of Martial Arts. At least they didn't grab her tits. This is kind of like foreplay. No, I'm going to tie you down and sit on your face. Maybe later. But as the 80s went on and they were getting more successful films, and they didn't really get respect. I mean, let's face it, critics and higher ups didn't respect these films, but the audiences enjoy them because we wanted just entertaining, fun escapism. I don't know why escapism is such a dirty word. Escapism is such a terrible word, and so many actors will do movies and, well, this is just done for escapism, it was done for a paycheck, but the more important movies. I'm like, no. Let's be honest, most people, yes, they do like an Oscar caliber movie from time to time. But for the most part, because their day-to-day life either sucks, or it's either a pain in the ass, or it's hard work, or it's tough work, or it's long hours, or you work at 2 jobs, you work at 3 jobs, you have bad things going on with your friends, your family, they're sick, they died, everything in between. They love escapism movies. They appreciate escapism films. They want that. That's what they grew up with more, and that's, for a lot of people, their favorites. when I say my favorites, I looked at Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Leviathan and Hard Target and Aliens and many, many more. I think Menem Golan, as well as Globus and Sam Firstenberg, which was the second film he directed. He directed a drama, I believe it was called One More Chance. Then he didn't he didn't know how to direct an action film, so of course when they asked him, "Do you direct an action film?" He's like, "Yes," just to lie about it. But that's so that he can get the job. Now, why that kid decided to pull this thing off and break it, I don't know. He just decided to do it. It's so that the plot could go forward. I mean, we haven't seen him do this before. We haven't seen him try to break these things before. If it was one of those, like, he's practicing, he accidentally hit it, or he's playing a game and he accidentally hit it, maybe that'd be something, but it's just, he just randomly decided to pull this thing. I mean, they tried to explain it, to be fair, or it's like, we gotta make a way for this to happen. It's asbestos. Don't breathe it in. It's cocaine. I tell you one thing, I think Hollywood needs to go back to using cocaine. That's when they made better movies. Maybe they started using cocaine, they'd be too busy hired and fired and wired and then after that tired to go on fucking Twitter and all this other stuff and worry about politics. No, I'm just worried about my next fix. Go back to cocaine. Cocaine made films like this and Maximum Overdrive and all sorts of stuff. Well, maybe not this, but I mean, cocaine's a hell of a drug. And again, I do think Hollywood should go back on that. Go back on cocaine. But yeah, throughout the 80s, they were making these films for a decent amount of budget and they were becoming big hits. The guy on the left there, I forget his name, the one with the mustache and the cigar in his mouth. I remember him, well, not this guy, but yeah, the guy with the mustache and the like cigar. I remember he was on the TV show Elf, a sitcom that ran for 4 seasons. He was the neighbor, Mr. Achmonic. And he would later appear in American Ninja, also directed by Sam Firstenberg. But I was mentioning Sam Firstenberg, this was his second film and his first action film. And because it was so successful, he got much more jobs. He got Ninja 3 The Domination, Lucinda Dickey, which they tried to make a big star. That didn't really pan out. And then Sho Kosugi was in that. He would, of course, American Ninja, which I would say his biggest, most popular success. Then American Ninja 2, Avenging Force, and then a few films, like he did one with Steve James. Oh god, I forgot what it was called. I remember not liking it, that's why I forgot already. I forgot what the hell the film was already. I wasn't a fan. It was about Steve James and his buddies take over this town that's filled with racism. It don't matter because that movie ain't worth it, sadly. Despite how much I like Steve James. And even, you know, with those successes, they bit off more than they could chew. They wanted to be a bigger studio like an MGM, a Paramount, a 20th Century Fox. So what happened was they overextended themselves. What I mean by that is that they said, you know what, we're going to make these bigger films, and they're kind of outside of a wheelhouse. Make a deal with Mattel. We're going to do Masters of the Universe, He-Man. Make a deal with for Superman 4. Make a big deal with Sylvester Stallone. We're going to do Over the Top. Manny McGowan's going to direct. And those three were massive flops, and they hurt that company a lot. I mean, you could make an argument those are the three films that helped kill Canon Films. You know, it started the bleeding. Not many days you find a ninja in the bathroom. No, not Mr. Obmonic. Alf is not going to be happy. Or maybe he will. Now he doesn't have to keep hiding from him. But yeah, the Superman 4 was terrible. It's an awful, awful movie. Masters of the Universe, I can watch nowadays as a time waster, but it was disappointing for He-Man film fans because of the cheapness of you just going to Earth and all that jazz, and even then, like the annoying Gwildor, and although Dolph Lundgren I think made a good He-Man, and Frank Langella was very good as Skeletor. Master of the Universe is a time waster. There's stuff to like. Great score by Bill Conti, who did the Rocky films, or at least most of them. And Over the Top I love. I love Over the Top. I think it's very underrated. But that film was a big bomb, and people laughed at it and made fun of it because it's the arm wrestling movie. But yeah, it has arm wrestling. It makes it different. It makes it not the same damn thing. Makes it unique, but I like the father and son story. I think there's a lot of kids like me who can relate to that or live vicariously through that movie. And I think Stallone did a good job. I think the kid did a good job. I love the soundtrack. I love Over the Top. Now, their name got associated with Cobra. There's another ninja star there to the face. A little bit of slow-mo. People passing by think, man, this guy's drunk as shit. Nope, now they're curious. This is back to the day you didn't have cell phones, you just call. That's a decent makeup effect. The eyeball is a little bit funky, but, well, I mean, that's supposed to be his bad eyeball because of the eye patch, to be fair. So, it didn't look that bad. I liked it. I liked that effect. But the reason Canon Films, their names, Golden Globes was in front of Cobra, they really had nothing to do with it. Oh, nice magazine. Let me take that. I'll borrow it for a little while. But they got Stallone for Over the Top. But they needed money to make the film. They didn't have the money to make it. Even though, so it's like they're biting more off than they could choose. Like, we got Stallone. Oh shit, we don't have the money to make the movie. So Warner Brothers said, we'll give you some money and we'll help release Over the Top, but since you have a contract with Stallone, you gotta ease up on it and let Stallone make one of our movies. Because this is right after Rocky IV, Rambo First Blood Part 2, and 85 were the biggest hits of that year. Over $100 million hits for each one. And so Stallone was a hot property. So Warner Bros. Like, oh, we need this. We want this guy. You have a deal. We'll give you a little bit of money. We'll release over the top. That's why it became Warner Brothers. Even though Canon meant I'm going, it became a Warner Brothers film. We'll release it, but you give us Stallone for Cobra. You let us make that film, and that's what happened. So Cobra was 86, and then Over the Top was 87, and then sadly Cobra underperformed. I don't know why, but it only made like 49 million, a bit step down from the over 100 million of Rocky 4 and Rambo 2. And I think Cobra's an awesome movie, but again, people didn't like it. I don't know why. I think it's a damn kick-ass action movie, damn good one. And then Over the Top, I think, is underrated, and that film bombed. And Over the Top bombing, Superman 4 bombing, Masters of the Universe didn't do well. They were up shit creek. And they were doing Spider-Man, that went bye-bye. They did Masters of the Universe 2, just to capitalize and use a cheap budget. That went bye-bye, those rights. No Superman 5, those bye-bye with that, so other than a film like Bloodsport, which is more their bread and butter, that's the film they didn't think would be a hit. And then they saw, oh, Van Damme's as the lead, he's going to suck. Who the hell is Van Damme? Oh, the first cut is awful. Van Damme and Sheldon Lettich helped work on the edit. It made it a better film and a big hit. Oh, Van Damme's a new star. Low budget on Cyborg, that made money. And then Van Damme kind of went away from... At Kickboxer, I don't know if Kickboxer was canon or... I keep getting confused where Kickboxer, where that lies. I know I haven't been talking much about Revenge of the Ninja, but I'll just talk about the canon films as a company. And then there were times where pretty much Golden and Globus, they had a falling out for a while and split, and then they formed their own companies. One stuck with the Canon Group and its dying years, another tried to form another company. And then that's where you did films like Captain America in 1990, and you had Street Night and Hellbound, Street Night with Jeff Speakman, Hellbound with Chuck Norris. Those are like some of the last films from Canon. That was like 93, 94. And I'm guessing in this third book this guy's going to write is going to be from 88 to 93, 94. Because again, those last couple of years, there's not a whole lot of movies being released from them. But yeah. I think Canon Films just, they wanted to be the up top guys, and if they had stuck with the Delta Forces and the Invasion USAs and the films like this and American Ninja, Bloodsport, again their bread and butter, I think they would have went on for, especially when Van Damme and Steven Seagal were being successful with their martial arts films. Canon could have had stars of their own. Yeah, and that just wasn't the case. But Sam Firstenberg, I mean, he knows how to pace a movie. I mean, it's been 30-some minutes and it's gone by fairly quickly. The story is interspersed with either fight scenes or even, scenes of this nature. Deaths like the ninja star in the eye of that guy into that we just saw with the eye patch. Shut up, stomach. Yes, we'll eat later. But I mentioned, Sam Firstenberg were going to direct. And then when he got to the 90s, even his career kind of dried up. because he didn't do a whole lot of more films when it got into the 90s. Like I said, he did that one with Steve James. He did some little stuff. I think he did one with Hulk Hogan. He did one. What the hell was it called? What the hell was that? Michael Dudikoff. I think it was one of the last films he did, and it was like one of the last films Michael Dudikoff did for a while. It was like a low budget version of the General's Daughter type of thing. I can't remember what it was called. Quicksand or something. Whatever. It wasn't that good. Just to show how quick he is with this weird cup that looks like a... Oh, the cup looks like a cigarette. Of course, the bad guys have to have a very nice, luxurious place. I mean, I don't know, maybe there'd be something in here about, Revenge of the Ninja. I could read a little bit. So it's not just silence. Yeah, it does have an interview with Sam Firstenberg in here. Yeah, One More Chance was his first film. I think this guy in the red, I think that's Don Shanks. I could be wrong, but I believe that's Don Shanks. Let me get another look at him when the movie lets me. Yeah, with the red and the long hair. If it is, Don Shanks is the guy who would play Michael Myers in Halloween 5. He was also one of those Three Ninja sequels. I think the Three Ninjas, was it Knuckle Up? The one with like the environmental message. And this Professor Turo Tanaka. Sub-Zero from Arnold's The Running Man. Here's Sub-Zero, now playing Zero. Let's see. Well, I'll wait on that. We're getting to another action scene. At least it's not too long before you have another kick-ass action scene. But I would say of the Enter the Ninja, I'm not a fan of because I don't think Frank O'Neill works as the lead. This, I think, making Sho Kosugi the lead was the much better choice because he actually knows how to do martial arts and you don't have to hide and trick it. He can actually do some stuff. And again, for 90 minutes, has a decent amount of action, has a great finale on the rooftops, has a fantastic score. I could mention the score by Rob Walsh. Amazing score. Yeah, so technically Sho Kosugi is fighting Michael Myers. Think about it. Don't stelp your ass. But yeah, this one I think is definitely the best of the three. Ninja 3, The Domination, I did have some fun with. Although I think the opening in that golf course massacre is easily the best part of the movie. And this kind of thing, it kind of shot its load a bit too quickly. Because I'm like, this is like the best part of the movie. It is like the first, I don't know, 10 minutes of the film. It never really got as great as that. But I did have some fun with Ninja 3. I don't hate it. But I just think this is definitely a much better film. Yeah, this is a pretty cool action sequence. I don't know if it's Stephen Lambert doing this bit at the end of crashing through the windshield. It might be. I did back in the day. People appreciate. Yeah, this is a great move. I'm not sure who did that specific stunt, but that's definitely a trailer moment. You know, the highlights you put to sell your movie, crashing through that windshield like that. I guess you could say that when it got into the 90s, PM Entertainment kind of took over for Canon. And while PM Entertainment does not have the nostalgia love that Canon Films has, PM Entertainment still had a lot of good. They definitely took up the mantle of lower budget action films. And you look at films like Land of the Free and films with Jeff Wincott and Zero Tolerance with Robert Patrick. And they're absolutely action packed and escapism fun. There you go. Yeah, break. No, I was going to say break his arm. Well, break his neck. There you go. Fucked him up too. He's fucking Neo. He can dodge bullets. Back on that fucking van again. That's probably Stephen Lambert there being dragged behind. Because I know at times he did double Sho Kosugi. That's some good shots. I mean, there's some wonderful stunt work that you see. And that's the thing, is that back then you didn't have computers and green screen and filters that just phony the whole thing up. You just see it, and again, they might not be 100% realistic, but they're sell the illusion enough to, like right there with the pants being ripped up and him being ripped up, his body being bruised up and bloodied up, helps sell the illusion. They stole all his shit. That is Professor Toro Tanaka. He was used as a villain in a lot of stuff. I mean, not just Sub-Zero and the Running Man, but he was it an Eye for an Eye? I think with Chuck Norris he was in. He would fight Chuck Norris. He would fight Jeff Speakman in The Perfect Weapon. I think in the Three Ninjas, the first Three Ninjas film. Which I'll be surprised. I mean, the film is there, but that's a film I'm surprised has not gotten some type of release because it was popular enough to get 3 sequels. Now, granted, there's a lot of other films I prefer on Blu-ray before Three Ninjas, but I'm just saying Three Ninjas seems like a cult enough film that someone would have released it officially. Again, for me, I'm like, I'd rather, have 3 Men and a Baby, which was a huge hit and good film, did a release on Blu-ray and all this stuff, but hey, that's just me. Yeah, this spoiler warning, this lady ain't gonna make it. And yeah, the movie does not hold back on the brutality. Doesn't matter if you're a kid or an old lady. Of course, a double for that flipping, as if no one would notice, but Grandma got stabbed by a sword. She ain't gonna be at Christmas dinner. Yeah, because like stabs through the wall and you have blood leaking out. I mean, it sells the brutality of it. There you go. And yeah, it don't matter if you're a little kid or an old lady. If you're dead, you're dead. Anybody can die at any moment. The kind of thing people don't mention is that when you're watching the film is like that kid there could die. We've already seen a kid die at the beginning. We've seen this old lady die. I mean, this kid could die as well, and it gives a danger to the villain. I don't know why I laughed where the kid just like bonk. I don't know why I laugh. I don't know. But yeah, Sho Kosugi, when he would do films like Black Eagle and others, he would have his kids in there as well. And then Kane Kosugi would go on to be in films of his own, like Ninja Shadow of a Tear with Scott Adkins, which I think is one of Scott Adkins' best movies. I think another company that kind of took over for Canon Films was, I want to say, was it New Image? Yeah, I think that's what released, like, Deadly Outbreak with Jeff Speakman and quite a few other films. That was kind of another company that kind of took over for Canon Films during the 90s and 2000s and such. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. The day we finished Avenging Force, I was already on a plane to Africa for American Ninja. I like this. Remember, I don't like boring movies. I like interesting, exciting movies. How do you make stuff so exciting in the kind of movies we're talking about, right? You make crazy, colorful villains. You don't need to stick to reality. It doesn't have to be accurate historically or militaristically. Rather, it's fantasy. Let's have fun with it. That's my approach to this kind of film. And, that's what you're being genuine with it, and then you make the entertaining movies. Go figure. We shot in Salt Lake City. And, well, I don't want to just be reading the book. No one wants to see Professor Toro Tanaka in his sumo wrestler gear. It's funny, Professor Toro Tanaka doesn't see all this coming, he doesn't notice any of this. He didn't know. I mean, he was at eye level with the guy. He didn't notice a sword. He didn't notice the guy walking around the bed. I mean, he didn't notice that at all. Strange. Him, I guess, using his ninja magic. I forgot that the eyes light up. I forgot about that. Barely forgot about that. So yeah, I guess from what I read, a bit of it. I noticed on the film print, on the right side of the screen, there's a white dot in the middle. If you you can't see it now, but and I've seen before. It's gone now. But those couple shots on the very right of the screen, right here, there's a white dot right here. Maybe that's something they couldn't clean up or didn't notice. Yeah, I do think the film looks good on Blu-ray, by the way. It does have an intro by Sam Firstenberg, behind-the-scenes photo gallery, and a commentary again with Sam Firstenberg and stunt coordinator Stephen Lambert. Which I would say, yeah, listen to that for much more info on the film. I didn't think about that. I probably could have played the movie with that commentary, so at least it'd be listening to him, if not for me. But at the same time, I don't know how much of the movie would leak through. And then I don't want to get claimed or blocked. Controversy. I don't even know if you guys would be able to hear it.
No way are you going to get me to play this character. No way. And they kept on saying yes way. And, obviously, look who got their way. Was, Sam and Sho. And I played this character. And I can't tell you how many laughs went on in this scene.
Yeah, there's a bit of the music, so I'm sure the music would make the video get blocked and such. Again, the director kind of knew what audience he was making this for, because hey, we gotta have another action scene, fight scene here, so let's come up with a way to get this fight scene in. So is this kind of playground type of thing? I don't even know what you call this place, and have this environment for Sho Kosugi to play. By the way, his bruises healed up very quickly. It's his face. Remember all those bruises on the face? And the cuts? They're not there anymore. Maybe he has Wolverine, healing ability, or not as quick. Maybe it's like takes a day, and then he'll. But again, his face has like no cuts or marks on it. I guess, what do you call this? I don't know if I call it a playground, but what would you call this? Like a obstacle course? It seemed like, or I guess maybe it's a playground for a city. So I didn't grow with a city, so I wouldn't know a playground this big and massive. But it gives you a nice location to play around with. And this bad guy with, I don't know what kind of haircut you even call that. There's the Nut Cruncher, Wet Willie of Death, and I'm gonna give me your face and give me that. I'm gonna step on your fucking head. Again, you can't hear it, but the music is fantastic in this movie. Rob Walsh, easily one of the best scores in a canon film. So much that they used that canon films would rip this score off and use it for a lot of their movies. Not just like trailers or stuff, like literally in the movies. It'd be like POW this day with David Carradine and other stuff as well. They kind of did it with the missing action music. Like some of the movies that had the more popular music they would use in other canon film productions. That's why like we had Teen Solomon's Mines with Jerry Goldsmith. Then when they did the sequel, I'll just use most of the music of the first one. Just do that. We don't need that much new music. Just keep reusing the old music. There you go. Why did the cops not go arrest these guys? I mean, you think the cop be like, okay, you shot a gun in public, you could have killed someone, you don't be arrested. Nah, you don't sit there with a ninja star stuck to your hand. Nah, let them go. I didn't. It's like you don't want to call backup, get these guys arrested. Guess not. Damn, we're almost an hour in. And this way, yeah, it came out in 1983, and try through to the year of 83, you had films like Jaws 3D, you had Return of the Jedi, you had, I believe, Blue Thunder with Roy Scheider. Not many movies are going to have a little kid and a blonde woman fighting each other like this. So it definitely makes it more unique. Kid's going to be put into a pile driver. I mean, the kid's pretty good. I mean, he's became a very good martial artist, but he's very good as a kid. Oh yeah, this is when she's hypnotized. Yeah, she's hypnotized as being a bad guy. That's why. You've been hypnotized. But yeah, ninja wasn't even that big of a thing. Like, when films like Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja came out, I doubt a lot of people in the U.S. ever heard of the word ninja. Unless maybe they saw some of the movies, martial arts, kung fu, that... Well, it's not kung fu. Kung fu would be, I believe, Chinese, but ninja usually associated with Japanese. But not a lot of people would know what the hell that word is. And of course, with American Ninja, became even more popular, and then finally with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You had the cartoon, you had the live action movies, pop culture phenomenon. Films like this and American Ninja introduced to Western audiences the idea of ninja, and Ninja Turtles definitely, I think, popularized that term to such a even much more of a common terminology. I don't know why that bad guy needs his shirt off to do this. Like, maybe it was too hot there. It's like, I need my shirt off to do this, dude. I mean, why the bad guy need to be there with his shirt off, I don't know, but I'm sure the kid's like, I don't want to be, this sweaty guy. Does he have a shirt on? Rub his sweat on my back when he's carrying me around? Back to the day when phones had cords with them. Remember that? When you have a phone, fucking cord, and you'd be like, 5, 3, 5, rotary, or it doesn't have to be rotary, it could be like push button as well, but yeah, we didn't, back to the 80s, you had a phone with a cord in it. I remember back to the day, the phone my family had at first was one of those where you have to hit the button, go all the way up, and then it has to roll back, and then you hit another one, and then the push one. But that's crazy, just how much technology has changed. I mean, you look at a film like this, there's not going to be cell phones, and there's not going to be at least computers that you have of today's age. And you don't even, I mean, going off a different tangent, you don't even have a lot of action heroes. I mean, you have a couple people doing stuff like some of the direct-to-video films Scott Adkins would do, and maybe Michael Jai White, and you have films like Keanu Reeves doing the John Wick movies, and Tom Cruise doing the Mission Impossible, Top Gun films, but very, very different compared to the 80s and 90s. And people always give credit to the 80s as they should, but the 90s I think is a very underrated decade. I love the 90s. It's not just because I grew up in it, but action films, Hard Target, Out for Justice, Rapid Fire, Showdown Little Tokyo, even to your Volcano, Independence Day, Twisters, your Time Cops, Universal Soldiers, your Cliffhangers, Demolition Mans, True Lies, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Total Recall. Say like people give such horror films such a bad name in the 90s. I'm like, you know what? I got Blair Witch Project, I got In the Mouth of Madness, I got People Under the Stairs, I got The First Power and Jacob's Ladder and Stir of Echoes and much more. I do wonder why they had Sho Kosugi dubbed. Well, I mean, I can assume why they had him dubbed, but, you know, I do wonder what it would have sounded like with his actual voice. Only a ninja can kill a ninja. Hey, I got a Nike shirt on. That counts, right? Just do it. Sorry, you and your Nike shirts gotta stay out of this. I'm in. I'm in my own wet T-shirt contest. You're the star. Is that guy with his shirt off again? You know, sometimes people ask me, do you think these type of films will ever come back? Depends on what you mean. I think there will always be room for these films to be made on a streaming service. I keep thinking the direct-to-video market, but that's not really a thing nowadays. It'd be a streaming service type of thing. But not as prominent as it was back then. I think you will once in a while find a little bit of a gem. I will say fight scenes have gotten better compared to 10 years ago, because 10 years before, they'd be more of the Bourne identity, Bourne supremacy, you know, that type of shaky cam. That's one of the reasons I hate those films. I'm not a fan of the Bourne films. Number one, I think the story, they're not that interesting, and each of the Bourne films have like the exact same story, it feels like. I like Matt Damon, but those fight scenes suck. They're terribly shot. They might be decently choreographed, but you can't tell because it's so shaky, so nausea-inducing that you can't tell what the hell's going on. So, to me, it's not good to look at. It's not good to witness. But yeah, I would say, I've said this before, this is definitely the best of the three Sho Kosugi, like, ninja trilogy he was in. And I would say the best film Sho Kosugi has been in. Like I said, Enter the Ninja I'm not a fan of. Ninja 3 is fun for what it is, but I mean, I think it has its issues. Rage of Honor and Pray for Death, I'll be honest, I did both of them confused. And I'm like, well, no, I don't know why, I did both of them confused. I just remember not liking them as much as this one. I don't remember them being awful, it's just, I remember liking this one more. I think it was Pray for Death. He had like a cool ninja suit, but he only wore like the very end, and I wish he wore it more. Black Eagle was terrible. It's absolutely garbage. And I'm a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. That's a garbage movie. And yeah. It's sad that that film has a fucking special edition, but not Time Cop. Time Cop can't have a fucking special edition, but we'll give it the fucking Black Eagle, but Time Cop can't have a special edition. Okay. Bloodsport. No fucking special edition for Bloodsport. We got one for Black Eagle. You can't even get Bloodsport by itself on Blu-ray. It's on Blu-ray with Time Cop or whatever the hell it is. Like, I think it's like Bloodsport. Can you even get Bloodsport by itself on Blu-ray? No features, no commentaries. Like Van Damme and Sheldon Lettich could do a commentary about the edited. Just Sheldon Lettich was editing the film, and Van Damme, fuck. But anyway. But here we don't have the evil ninja kill a lot of the mob here. That's a pretty damn good shot going from building to building. Yeah, I think a lot of this with in the mask, it is Stephen Lambert. Yeah, Stephen Lambert, who's the stunt coordinator, fight choreographer. One thing I learned on another commentary, a lot of times in movies you'll have like, oh, see like this one here, if you can't tell, her name is like in a box compared to the other names. Ooh, there you go. See, a little violence gore like that gives a nice visceral reaction for the viewer. Those some deadly. They're not thumbtacks. I don't know what you call that. Just little spikes. And killing the mob in violent, distinct ways. But yeah, nice dismemberment. There goes your hand. But yeah, a lot of times if you see like certain credits at the end of movies or even the back there where one name is in like a white box, usually it's either them or their agent saying, "Hey, could you do that?" I just to make their name stick out more. On that slasher film, Don't Go in the Woods from the 80s. Someone had their name in the box and there was a commentary and the guy answered, yeah, her or I think her agent said, could you do that? I was okay. I just again to give like more distinction to that name because your eyes draw more to it. I don't know if it helps, but that's what either the actor or their agent wanted. So again, if you do see that, that's why. And this guy loves having his shirt off. Dude, you know Scarface. But you got the wrong gun if you want to be Scarface. He had a grenade launcher with it. You don't have that, so. I think Scarface came around this time anyway. Wasn't it 83 or so? I can't remember. I'm not the best with dates. This guy was able to kick ass and go through the front door. Maybe Sho Kosugi should have tried that to begin with. Ooh, that's a nice piece of business. I was like, damn, you had that in your mouth the whole damn time? So I'm trying to. This guy's just so bored, I'm just going to throw a nunchuck around. So yeah, why not? I mean, I'm bored as hell. That's the thing that needs to come back. More people using nunchucks. Let's get that going. But yeah, I think that one of the tough things about nunchucks is that how close can you get to someone's head, and because they're so you can't truly. You could try to control it, but it could. I think you could accidentally hurt someone a lot easier with nunchucks compared to other stuff, but. Yeah, the kids be able to use it a bit. That kid has a good view. Stiff nipples and panties. Sure, the kid was happy about that. I would. I don't know what this lady has gone on to do. I don't know what else she's worked on. Thankfully they stood there long enough to not shoot their guns while he did that. I mean, they had guns, and a guy comes from the ceiling, so they're staring like, ah. As soon as I'd heard it, but like, but yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I'm glad they stood there like, that looks so cool. Ah, fight you. It is what it is. I'm trying to remember if this guy gets killed. It's been a while since I've seen this. I think he does. Yeah, he ain't gonna. I just want to showcase that he knows martial arts, so it shows that this guy. There you go. He went there just to die. I mean, technically that's what it is. That was his purpose. He went there just to die. As if Sho Kosugi didn't need more motivation. Got stabbed in the stomach and a ninja star. Did that mother. Just did that motherfucker. The reason this rooftop fight is so crazy is just all the tricks this guy is able to do with his ninja magic. I mean, there's fake body doubles, there's fire, there's all sorts of stuff. You're like, what the hell? But I mean, it's like, Sam Firstenberg said, you just, either you go with the fantasy or you don't. It's like a lot of other movies. I mean, how many ninja films do you see that a part of the fight is on a fucking tennis court? Thank God Sho Kosugi took the time to put eyeliner around his eyes. It looks like eyeliner. I don't know what else it would be. It looks like eyeliner right around his eyes. Wonder why. I wonder why that was the case. See, it's like eyeliner under and the eyes like. Yeah, I wonder why that was the case. For a distinct look. But again, for a guy that, had never directed action before, I mean, he relied on Sho Kosugi, Stephen Lambert. That's the thing, is that the director, he knew who to rely on. Sometimes you have directors that think they know more than they do, but they don't know. They know jack and shit. Like the guy who directed, what was that film, War? That piece of shit with Jason Statham and Jet Li. And I think it was like Jet Li or Statham. Someone said about how, they want to do this and that, but the director's like, no, it must be done this way. And yeah, where the hell is that director now? War. What was it good for? Absolutely nothing. That's like one of Statham and Jet Li's worst films, War. I know there's people that like War. I'm like, yeah, if you like bullshit plot twists and Statham and Jet Li fighting, but it's a shitty fight because the director didn't know, had his head up his ass. Well, there's a grid on there. Would you really fall into the fan, or would you just fall on the gray and just dip back up? But I don't know. So that's what I mean by the fake dummy. Like, how did he get that fake dummy? Where did that come from? I don't fucking know. He just had it up there. Did he conjure up with just because it is what it is, and it was what it was? He just has a fucking fake dummy of himself. Keep it for close encounters. But it's kind of the fun is that like all these different kinds of weapons are come out for this fight. I think the size get used for a bit, and of course the swordplay, and it's like fake arms. Like what the hell? Again, like you just, I guess you just either go along with it or you don't. I didn't forget his knee cut up. He was able to do a good backflip. Again, for your knee cut up, good flips. But like I was saying before, it was films like this, and Rambo First Blood Part 2, and Commando, and Death Wish 3, and Invasion USA, and this type of stuff were our comic book films. They're not 100% realistic. I love Rambo 2. I'm not going to think, though, that one guy can go in and win back the Vietnam War. Or, But at the same time, it's done with enough bits and pieces to make you believe in the illusion, as ridiculous as one might think. And those are the films I miss. Those are the films I grew up with. Those are the films I like the most. As a kid, I would say, "Oh, maybe horror is my favorite genre," but like, no, really, action is my favorite genre, and that type of either action or 80s, 90s creature feature is more my cup of tea. And I never got into the whole cheesy thing. Never did. It's cheesy, it's corny. To me, it's fun, entertaining, badass. And then chalked up to nostalgia, chalked up to whatever you want, but it's never really. I never liked the word cheesy. I think it's just an overused term. Like, what I see here is good choreography. People know what they're doing. with all the different weapons, it makes you wonder what's going to come next. For how much this guy gets wounded, it doesn't seem to slow him down. I mean, he got his knees fucked up, he got a knife in the shoulder, he's been cut a few more times, and the bad guy has been cut once. And yeah, it seems like that's slowing Sho Kosugi down. Can you imagine the cops just pull their guns and start shooting at him? Ah, shit. I like how they run in there as if, like, what are you guys gonna do? I don't know why I thought maybe the size would come in play. I guess not. I might be. I think of a different movie. Well, at least it's a fun, creative, crazy fight with a different bits of variety, using all parts of the rooftop. It gives you your money's worth. There you go. You tap my knees, I'm gonna tap yours. There's the fire bit. I was wondering, like, did I miss the fire bit? It's like, nope, there it is. Sorry, now. I mean, again, I'm just watching the action scenes, being impressed by the choreography, and I mean, people had to train and do this. That get help with effects, with CG, with editing. There you go. Wish he had cut his head off or something. Or if you want to see another one, The Challenge with Scott Glenn. There's an end bit where Scott Glenn has a sword come down and the guy's head gets split like like a melon. The Challenge with Scott Glenn, that's a pretty good one as well. That's a very early, movie dealing with that kind of plot line. I think that was before this, 82 or so. I don't know. There's that music again. Sho Kosugi, the Black Ninja. Vitali, Virgil Frye, Maria Diallo. Like, yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. Kane Kosugi, little kid, Gone Woodruff. And there you go. I mean, for fight choreography helped by Sho Kosugi as well as Stephen Lambert. The bad guy's dead. The movie is over. Again, less than I mean, with the take out the end credits, just 80 some minutes long. In and out, doesn't overstay its welcome. That's another thing that movies need to learn, is that not every movie needs to be 2.5 hours. There are films I like which are 2.5 or 3 hours, yes, but not every fucking film needs that. Sometimes 90 minutes is all you need, and sometimes that's. I think there are directors or stuff that get so in love with their material that, no, this needs to be in here. Are you sure? You sure it needs to be in here? No, it must be in here, please. It's like. But yeah, that's Revenge of the Ninja. It still holds up, still entertaining. I would say one of Cannon Film's best in the filmography. I'm not sure what my favorite would be, because, like I said, I love Over the Top. I love Firewalker with Chuck Norris. I love Invasion USA, Death Wish 3. I'm not going to count Cobra, because that's kind of end name only. That's more Warner Brothers, so. Bloodsport I love, Cyborg I love. It's hard to pick a favorite, but this is definitely up there. So, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Thanks once again, Ben, for the request. Thank you once again, Ilko, for the movie. The Blu-ray, I should say. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.